It's not flying, it's closed. They have very sporadic hours. The ladies that run it kind of come and go as they please. But it's an excellent, they do. But it's an excellent museum. I was in there for 2.5 hours and did not see it all. Flags, uniforms, weapons, writings, all labeled up really well, donated from all over the Southeast to this Confederate museum. It's incredible. Highly recommend it if you like Confederate memorabilia. But what this was built as historically, the two-story part of the market, I'm not talking about the whole market, just this right here. There's an indicator of what it was built as. You see those etchings up in the frieze? Looks like animals. Come on. Those are animals. That's rams and bulls' heads etched up in the frieze of the building. It is an indicator that what it was built as a beef market. The two-story part right here. Now, it was the kind of beef market that you walked in what you wanted to eat, and they slaughtered it for you, and you walked out with your food for the week. There. Sure enough, a big mess on the streets, you can imagine. Tried to stay on top of it, keep this beef scrap up, and they just couldn't stay on top of it. Well, they felt blessed because these turkey buzzards start coming in and cleaning the streets up, eating up the beef scraps. So blessed, they just let them come in droves, put some aviary laws in place. You couldn't mess with those birds. They say to find Old City Market, you looked up in the sky, saw the group of turkey vultures circling, you knew where to come shop. However, we Charlestonians, turkey buzzard, vulture, that just doesn't sound good to us. We try to fancy things up. You know, we call our porches piazzas. And here in Charleston, we don't sweat, we glisten. We don't have cockroaches, we have palmetto bugs. Those birds cleaning up the street followed suit. They became known as the Charleston Majestic Eagles. There you go. Had to clean that word up. Buzzard. No, that's an eagle. Eagle clean up that street. There are still aviary laws in play in the state of South Carolina that protect those birds. That goes all the way back to cleaning up the streets. In Charleston, South Carolina, the Old City Market, beef market. But what was here before any of these sheds were here? Any of this was here. Folks, what we're riding on right now was the governor's land. Governor Pinckney lived in a mansion up there around the two-story part of the market, in a mansion that faced the water. And what this was, this is some of our man-made land. It was a creek. It was Daniels Creek. Part of the governor's land flowed all the way down into the bay and emptied into the Cooper River. You look on some of the old maps of Charleston, this was one of the widest creeks in the city. So basically what happened is Governor Pinckney donates this creek, this land, to the city and tells them to build an open-air market for all the residents. And that's what they did. They came in like our other man-made land, rubble, cobblestone, dirt, fill this in, build it up as much as they could, and construct these sheds. Goes all the way from Meeting to East Bay Streets, established in 1807. But when this first opened, it has definitely evolved. When it first opened, it was a big grocery store. It was a market of need. Beef, poultry, rice, provisions, farmers market, things that you needed. Different vendors selling things you needed. Today, it's definitely changed. It's a market of local vendors, local artisans, or sweetgrass basket weavers, just a whole mix of different things. One of people's favorite things to do when they come to Charleston, I live in Charleston, I love to walk the market. I just have to be careful because I do come out with a lot of things that I did not need. The only thing in there that I know of that I absolutely need is Benny wafers and ice cream. Good stuff. But
there's a slave market down here?
This is the old slave mart's over on Chalmers Street, the longest cobblestone street in the city. Has anyone heard that this was where slaves were bought and sold?
Yeah.
Mythbuster, no, never. Do you know the city sent letters out to all 5 carriage companies that slaves were different. Indoor slaves, butlers and housekeepers were very close with their owners, light-skinned. It was the field slaves, dark-skinned, that you heard the horrible atrocities about. Whipped and beaten, they considered them animals. But those indoor slaves had privileges. They could come down here amongst themselves in groups and buy and sell goods for their owners. So people come down, see these groups of slaves, and start calling it the old slaves market. Just like you don't go to the farmer's market to buy a farmer, or a flea market to buy a flea, you didn't come down to the old slaves market to buy a slave. But you can imagine another something we might have trouble with here. Built on a creek, below sea level, flooding. Now they've done a lot of work to offset this flooding. they have laid cisterns, dug tunnels, this huge infrastructure, and they did well with the work they did. We get a moderate rain during low tide. We did fine last night with that rain we had. We're not flooded. But folks, torrential downpour during high tide, all bets are off. Hope you're not parked down here. Cars get flooded out all the time. The worst one, the last worst one, 2 months ago, did everybody remember the supermoon? It was beautiful, but it brought to Charleston, it brought an exceptionally high tide. The tide was so high, it almost covered our marsh. And of course, during this exceptionally high tide, the worst torrential downpour, thunder and lightning storm I've experienced since I moved here. I'll never forget it because guess who was out on tour when it hit? Down by the water, and this rain coming in sideways. 16 people on my carriage. Rain coming in sideways, thunder and lightning. They're all huddled in the center because it's just coming. You're wet, just soaking wet. Forrest was very angry. You can imagine. Thunder, lightning. He has no idea what's going on. That rain's smacking him in the face. He's trotting. He's trotting us home, and I'm glad. I got a hold of him. I wasn't scared about him trotting, but I was concerned because these were wet. You don't want to lose footing on your drive lines. But so I'm driving like this. When we get down here, 1.5 foot of water in the market, it's closed. You couldn't come through it. You couldn't get through it. So we got rerouted. Had to come up this way. That made the horse even more irritated. You're kidding me, right? I don't even get to go home? He comes around. He took a corner a little fast. Right up here. No, nobody hurt. But he takes that corner a little bit fast, and the back wheel popped the curb. Just kind of popped the carriage up a little bit. So I'm out here driving. I'm like, I better check on everybody. I turned around and said, is everybody okay? Is anybody scared? They're smiling ear to ear. This is fun. I said, wow. I said, you ought to try one in the sunshine then if you like this. But y'all, we got home fine, but that's how it floods. That one was very bad. I had to wade to my car up Calhoun Street with my bicycle pushing it through water this deep up to my knees. It was very bad. Now, the students at the College of Charleston, they love it. When it floods like that down there, they bring down their kayaks and paddle boards and have a party.